welcome to my channel. In today's tutorial we'll learn how to make this bubu cape dress. I actually came across this picture and I so much loved the design, so I said why not, let me try it. And this is my first attempt. It came out like this with one or two things to correct. So what we need to correct, I will let you know as we go on in this video. But overall it's nice and it's beautiful. It's very beautiful, and I'm sure you might want to try it. And it is for all sizes. I think the only measurement that one will need is the shoulder and the length. Okay, I'll start with this pattern. I just happen to have this pattern, and I will use it to illustrate how to cut the neck, that is the cape. So when you have a pattern like this, you mark out your neck, because the design has more of it has a close neck, so I'll be marking 3 by 3 inches. But you can actually do whichever neck you like. So I mark 3 by 3, and then from the shoulder line, from that shoulder, that is from the shoulder, I will mark the size of the cape, how wide or how big I want it to be. So I'll come down center front and I'll join it to my shoulder at that point, and that is the cape. So I'll cut this out. This is the cape for the front. I'll cut it out, and after cutting, I'll cut the neckline also. I'm just trying to use a marker here to trace it out, as I realized that the pen I was using was not showing properly. So this is me trying to use a marker to trace it out. So this is the front cape, and you can actually decide that your cape will be V or something, or the neck V. And it's a closed neck, so I need that front slit, so I just opened up the slit. Then now the back cape, I'll mark 3 and a 1 inch depth, 3 inches width. Then the same as I did the front cape. So the depth of your cape depends on you. The shape of the cape also depends on what you like. So I'll just mark it like this and I'll cut it. So that is the cape for the front and the cape for the back. So if you are sewing, you just join the shoulder of the cape. You join the shoulder of the cape, and I will explain how to cut the flay, that is the lower part of this dress also. So this is what I have: the cape for the back, the cape for the front. And I want to sew, we just join the neck line, I mean the shoulder. We just join the shoulder. That is what we'll have. Let's go to the lower part of the dress. So the first thing is you pick your fabric, and this is a fabric by 60, so that's the length of the fabric. So you fold your fabric like this. You can work with maybe 1.5 inches depending on the length of your dress, or 2 inches. So you cut your 2 inches and you fold it just like this to get more like a V shape. So from the edge, you measure the length of your dress. From that edge, you measure the length of your dress. So, and you mark it. Let me go over it again. Your fabric by 60, then you fold it. You fold it like this. You fold it like this. Then you measure the length. So from that edge, you measure the length of the client and you draw a line at that point. You draw a straight line at that point. And from that point, you go up at this other end to measure the length. The same length you measured, you measure it again from that point. That is at the folded edge now. Measure your length and you connect it and you cut out the shape. So after cutting the shape, you fold your fabric again and cut out another one so that you will have two. Now this dress has a center joining, center front joining and center back joining. It doesn't have joining by the side, so you only join at the center front and at the center back. So after cutting this out, you cut out another one and that will make it two. Approximately 3.5 yards or 4 yards will be enough for this style, depending on the height of the person. And if you are sewing a full dress, that is the one that will get to the ankle. So I'm cutting another one so that I can have two. So this is what I have. The cutting is more like right side of the front and right side of the back, then left side of the front and left side of the back. So that is why I said it will have center front joining, and you can now add slits. You won't close it totally at the front so that I can have slits. Now I have placed them on each other, and from the folded edge I will mark my sleeve length. For my first attempt, I used 15 inches for the sleeve length, but if I'm sewing another time, I will increase it to maybe 20 or 18 so that it can be free. But the more it is, the more that your sleeve length, the more the opening, so you can just do whatever you want. So at this point, I'm marking the depth of the neck of the cape. Since once I cut if your cape is 5 inches, then your depth of the neckline now will be 5 inches. Then you join it to the point where your shoulder ends, the first mark. So just follow this shape and you cut it out. So this is what we have. If you have excess, then you gather it And the level of excess you have at this point is determined by how long your sleeve length is. So if your sleeve is long, maybe 20 or more than 20, then you won't have too much excess together to join to your cape. But if your sleeve length is long, but I will advise that don't let your sleeve length don't go lower than 15 inches, because I used 15 inches and it wasn't too free the way I would have loved it to. So you can use 18 of 20. All right, let's go to the fabric so that you will understand what I did or what we are doing. So I will be using this material to cut my cape. So the first thing is to mark 3 inches. The normal way you cut your blouse or your pattern, just follow it. So I marked 3 inches, I marked 5, and from that 5 I came down by 1.5 inches. Then I will now join it for my shoulder slants. So I'm just doing my shoulder slant. So use whatever method you use for your shoulder slants. After my shoulder slants, I will mark my shoulder divided by 2, which is my back divided by 2. It's 16 at this point. Then now I want to mark the depth of my cape. The depth I use is more than what we are trying to mirror. It's more than the image. I used 9. I wanted to use 10. I now decided that no, let me use 9.5. Let me use 9.5, but the 9.5 was more than what is in the picture. But I decided to use 9.5 because I wanted my front slit a little bit lower, because so that my head will pass and I won't have to struggle. So I just joined it and I will cut it out. I'm using a permanent marker here, so I am being careful. I don't want it to show too much, because at the end it might not go off. So now I am cutting, but I'm not cutting on my line. I added ½ inch as my sewing allowance, so I'll cut it out. I'll cut my shoulder slants too. Then I'll put it on the fabric again to cut the back. So one will be for the back and one will be for the front. If you don't want the cape, if you don't want your cape to be equal, then you can work on it. But I feel the front cape and the back cape should be the same length. It's only the neck line that will be different, because it's more like what do they call this neck now? A round neck. So that is where the neckline will be different for the back and the front. But if you want, you can use cape, you can use canoe neck, you can use V-neck. It depends on the type of neck you want. Just make sure the neck you are using is the neck you are using is big enough for your head to pass through. So now I want to mark my neckline. I'll be marking 3 inches by 3 inches for the front, and for the back I'll mark 3 inches by 1 inch. So I'll cut the neckline, and after cutting the neckline, the next thing is to join the cape. You join the shoulder, you knit it. If you have to take it to your overlocking machine, you do that and just make it neat. Then for the lower part, you join the center front and the center back. Then the wide neckline, you gather it. If it is wide, you gather it and you just join it to your cape. At this point, I'm trying to open the front slit of the cape. The cape has a front slit, so that is for the front. This is for the back. I will join the shoulder. I will cut the collar, which is a round collar. I'll cut it and I'll fix it. Just trying to confirm my slit. It's not low enough, so I will make it a little bit low. A little bit low, so we'll come back to that later. Now this is my fabric. This is my fabric. I already cut out the fabric and I placed them on top of each other. And because I'm working with chiffon, I had to use pin to pin it. You know, chiffon knows how to move. And which other fabric can you use for this tie? You can use lycra. You can use just any material that you know that drapes well. You can use it. So you see the shape of fabric. This is what I have. So I already folded it. Now the next thing I'll do is to measure my sleeve. Like I said that I used 15 inches for my sleeve. I used 15 inches, but if I am to recut the pattern or to sew again, I wouldn't use 15 inches. I'll use maybe 18, 20. You can even use the full length of your sleeve, which is like a 22, 23. You can use that. The only difference will be you might not have gather, that the parts that you join to your cape might not be gathered. That is the only difference. And one thing about this tie, it's universal. I think it is it's every size. Since the two measurements that you need is just your shoulder and the length of the dress. So almost everybody can wear it. So now at this point I will come down to mark the cape so that I can cut off the cape depth. The cape I used was 9.5. So at this point I marked the 9.5. And when you are cutting your fabric, don't forget to add your seam allowance. For example, if your dress length is like maybe 58, you can cut 59 or 60. If it is too long, you can trim the lower part eventually. So this is the shape. You see what I have, then I'll cut it off. I'll cut that part away, and that is the part that will join to my cape. And when you look at the design or this tie, at the shoulder, at the cape side where the cape met, the front cape and the back cape, it had opening. So when you are joining your fabric to the cape, you can come down from your shoulder line. You can come down by 2 inches away from the joining, your shoulder joining. You can come down by 2 inches. So it's from that 2 inches you sew around the cape, 2 inches both front and back. And if you still want more flesh to show at that point, you can make it 3 inches or whatever you want. So this is what I have basically. It's more than the cape. I'll just gather and attach it to the cape. So this is my cape. I already do the turning at the V at the slit. Then I'll just join the round neckline like this, and I'll attach it to the dress. Voila, this is what I have. If I'm sewing this next, I will still use a contrast color at the cape, and I want to stone it. I will add rhinestones. I will really love to stone it. Then I think my cape is bigger than what we are trying to mirror, but above all, for a first attempt, I think it's fine, and it's very beautiful actually. So you see the back, you see the joining, the center back joining, and you see the gather in front, both front and back. It has the gather effect, and you see the center front joining, and that is the center front slit. You can slit front and back. You can have your slit at the back if you like, but I decided to put my slit at the front. So you see the cowl effect. Now if you look at the pattern we are trying to sew, the image, you see that it has like a rope was joined to the sleeve side. So I have now added my own rope, like something to tie the sleeve. So at this point I'm holding, you see the opening. So if your sleeve is like 20-25, it will open more. You understand? Now this is 15 that I use, and it's opening. So at that point I'm holding, you put your rope. You see the rope on this design now. You see just a tie, one to the right, one to the left. So you put it at that point. You can make it loose so that anybody that wears it can tie it, or you can make it permanent. So at that point, and you leave where your sleeve will come out from. The upper part will now be the cold shoulder part. You get it? So this is the cowl effect, and this is what I have. Do I love this design? Definitely. Will I sew it again? Yes, it's beautiful, but when I'm sewing next time, I'll make sure my cape is not as big as this, and I don't really like a neck that is closed, so I might use another type of neck, and but I will make sure I stone it. I will add enough stone to it. Thank you so much for watching this video. See you in my next tutorial. Bye.